How's it going, everyone? We are once again taking a look at the games under $20 sale, doing a bit of catch-up because I have an inkling that they are going to start another PSN sale tomorrow. I don't know, that's just my educated guess, might be wrong on that, but I wanted to do another video, and we plan on doing games under $5 as well. We're looking at games under 10 here. Let's get right into it. We got 15 games to go over, so I'm going to go through it a little quickly. We've talked about a lot of these games, but always a good catch-up. Alright, first up, we have Infamous Second Son. Now, this is available as a PlayStation Instant Game Collection title as well as PlayStation Now, but if you only have a PS4 and you want to check out a great open world title, I am a big fan of Infamous Second Son. You know, I think it's the weakest of the three Infamous games, don't get me wrong, but I think so highly of Infamous 1 and 2, and I could probably make an argument Second Son is better than Infamous 2. I'd probably rank Infamous 1 as my favorite, but nonetheless, let's talk about Second Son. Second Son, I think, is a great game, has quite a bit of content. Visually, it's one of the best looking PS4 games, and if you want to do everything in the game, it's going to take you a while, but the Platinum Trophy isn't that difficult. Really enjoyed it. Solid story. If you do just want to bum rush through the main story, you could probably complete it in under 10 hours or around 10 hours or so. It's really not that long if you want to just completely rush through the game, but $10 for Infamous Second Son I think is a good pickup. Go check it out. Big fan of Infamous, and hopefully they make another title sooner rather than later. Alright, next up, another open world game, Middle-earth Shadow of War, $7.49. Unfortunately, not the Middle-earth Shadow of War Definitive Edition, but for the base game, $7.49 is still a very good pickup. You know, it's a great open-world action-adventure title, pretty good story here, solid visuals, very, very satisfying combat. That's one thing that I could always take away from Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War. Really enjoyed the combat out of this game. And again, solid overall, so go check that out if you have yet to. Always gotta mention some Assassin's Creed. You know, I love me some old school Assassin's Creed. Assassin's Creed Syndicate is 70% off for $8.99. Very good pickup here. Assassin's Creed Syndicate, in my opinion, is the most underrated Assassin's Creed title, maybe right up there with AC Rogue, but AC Syndicate had the unfortunate fate of being released right after Assassin's Creed Unity. Unity kind of flopped, and then Syndicate kind of felt the brunt of the lackluster sales, and a lot of people didn't check it out. I thought it was a great game, compelling main characters, compelling story. Gameplay is very good. Traversal in the open world was done well, and it was a huge open world. $9, think it's a very good buy for AC Syndicate. I have heard some issues with the PlayStation 5 playing this game on the PS5. I haven't tried Syndicate on the PS5, so don't quote me on that. I definitely have to try that at some point, because I've seen some comments of you guys telling me Syndicate on the PS5 is kind of lukewarm, so I'll check that out at some point here soon. But if you have a PS4, again, good reason to pick it up. Next up, we have Batman Arkham Knight Premium Edition, 80% off for $7.99. This includes Batman Arkham Knight as well as the DLC content. Batman Arkham Knight is very good. You know, it's a great open-world action-adventure game. 4 open-world titles in a run. We're gonna get to number 5 in just a little bit, but Batman Arkham Knight is solid. I didn't like the story quite as much as Arkham Asylum or Arkham City, but from a gameplay standpoint, it was good. I enjoyed the Batmobile sections. I know a lot of people, when this game came out, did not really dig the Batmobile sections, but I thought they were pretty decent, and overall, Arkham Knight was a very, very enjoyable game, and has quite a bit of content as well. Premium Edition gets you the additional content, and for $8, a lot of bang for your buck here, so definitely go check that out. Next up, we have Capcom's Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen. Now, this release also includes the DLC, the Dark Arisen expansion, I should say. Very good. It's a challenging action RPG, but at the same time, it's very rewarding. I see some comparisons here and there to the Souls titles, and I can definitely see those comparisons, but definitely has its own unique elements to it as well. If you want a game that's engaging, filled with content as well, Dark Arisen is going to give you that. Hopefully, sooner rather than later, we see the announcement of Dragon's Dogma 2. I do think Capcom is working on it. I just don't know if we're going to see an official announcement here soon, but hopefully. But for now, Dark Arisen for $9 is pretty solid. Next up, we have Tales of Vesperia Definitive Edition, 80% off for $9.99, a JRPG that I constantly go back to and recommend. Tales of Vesperia is just a fantastic, fantastic game. One that I always recommend. A great cast of characters here. One of the best main characters out of a JRPG that really avoids a lot of the JRPG tropes of, you know, following that zero to hero style of storytelling, which Yuri kinda has a little bit of that, but really not done in the same way a lot of other JRPGs do it, and the rest of the cast is great. Story is your typical save the world JRPG story, but it's not bad by any stretch of the imagination, and it's still a very, very good JRPG. $9.99 for this, it's an easy recommendation. Next up, we have Dishonored Definitive Edition, 50% off for $9.99. Dishonored 1 is awesome, man. I would like to see this a little bit cheaper at $5. I would say slam dunk pickup. $9.99 is a bit pricey, but still, I think so highly of Dishonored that this is an easy recommendation. I do recommend that if you play Dishonored or you play Dishonored 2, I would take a more silent and stealthy approach. You can go through both games, run and gun action, you know, run, gun, and sorting, I guess, but, yeah, you can play the game action heavy, or you can take a more silent approach. I think it's more satisfying with the silent approach. You do have a variety of different game, you know, story twists as far as if you go the chaotic route or not, but, Dishonored in general, very enjoyable game. Not the lengthiest game in the world, but has replayability, so $10 for that, easy recommendation as well. Next up, a game that I constantly go to bat for, and that is Gravity Rush 2. Man, if you haven't played Gravity Rush 2, please do yourself a favor and go play Gravity Rush 2. Game has an awesome art style, a fantastic main character, and is just a very, very well-rounded game. Gameplay is very solid as well, and Gravity Rush 2 is a significant improvement upon the original game, has a lot more content as well, and it's just a bummer that Gravity Rush really never saw that worldwide commercial appeal that a lot of the other PlayStation exclusives did see, because I think the IP had a lot of potential, and honestly, that potential was mostly realized in Gravity Rush 1 and 2. From a quality standpoint, it just never resonated from a sales standpoint, so just very unfortunate to see that, but still, a lot of reason to go back and check out Gravity Rush 2, and at $9.99, I still think it's a good pickup. Next up, want to give a shout out to Far Cry 4, 67% off for $6.59. I just thought this was a great price point. It is the base game, it's not the gold edition, which is a little bit of a bummer, but if you just want, you know, a pretty good open world first-person shooter to get into, Far Cry 4 is a good one. I mean, Far Cry doesn't usually reinvent the wheel, and that was especially the case with some of these middle Far Cry titles, Far Cry 4 especially. I think a lot of people saw it as more of the same from Far Cry 3, but that's not a bad thing. The game is still an enjoyable open world FPS, and for $6.59, I thought the price was so good that I was like, yeah, let's give that a recommendation as well. Next up, another game that I constantly go to bat for, Obsidian's Pillars of Eternity. We got the complete edition that includes the White March Part 1 and 2 expansion. That is $9.99 if you're a Plus subscriber, $12.49 if you're not a Plus subscriber. Oh, I can talk about Pillars of Eternity a lot. It is just a great RPG with a lot of replayability, a lot of decision-making as well. Obviously, Obsidian is now owned by Microsoft, and Obsidian, excuse me, is doing Avowed, which is set in the Pillars of Eternity world, but that put aside, Pillars of Eternity is a great RPG that for $9.99, I think it's a fantastic pickup. It is more centric for a keyboard and mouse. I think, you know, KBM is the best way to play this game, but it makes it a solid enough transition to the DualShock 4 controls that it works well as well. I know on the surface you might look at the visuals or something like that and be like, yeah, is this game really worth it? Trust me, get into it. There is so much lore to this game, so much engagement in the story, and a lot of great content as well in a game that'll keep you busy for quite a while with the expansions as well in here, so $9.99 for that is a great buy. Next up, we have Alien Isolation, the collection, which is 80% off for $7.99. A very good horror game here with some great visuals. The horror does kind of get a little bit stale by the end of it, but that's a lot of horror games, to be perfectly honest. This game is incredibly atmospheric, and the collection here does have some additional content. This was one of the early PlayStation 4 titles. It came out back in 2014, I want to say, but it was also one of those early PS4 titles that people saw as one of those true, you know, great games on the PS4. So $8 for this. Yes, it's a little bit on the older side, but given that you get the base game, given that you get the additional DLC, I think this is a pretty good buy, all things considered. Next up, another franchise that I constantly go to bat for, WipEout the Omega Collection, 50% off for $9.99. I don't know if we're ever going to see another WipEout title, but man, WipEout Omega Collection stands the test of time. Came out back in like 2017. This includes the content from WipEout HD, WipEout HD Fury, as well as WipEout 2048, and all of that together brings you the Omega Collection. The Omega Collection is terrific. If you want a futuristic arcade racer, this is the one to buy on PlayStation. It is just a ton of fun and just so enjoyable. Like, if you want a game that you can just zone out, pop in whenever you don't really know what to play, or a long day at work, or whatever the case may be, WipEout is a game you can constantly go back to and just have a good time. Soundtrack is pretty solid as well. Overall, just a very, very good arcade racer. Hopefully we see another WipEout title in the near future, at some point in the future. I don't know if we're ever gonna get it, but I loved WipEout, and yeah, definitely a great buy with the Omega Collection. By the way, if you have a VR headset, very good VR component to this game as well. 2 games here to mention real quick. Vanquish and Bayonetta are $9.99 a pop. Platinum Games action-oriented titles. Vanquish is very much on the short side, but it takes the Platinum Games style of gameplay, takes it over the top, turns it up to 11, whatever you want to call it. The game is just filled with chaos, jetpacks, boosters. You guys know the deal with Vanquish. If you've never played it, you can pop it in one Saturday evening. If you're free, you can probably beat it in one sitting, but it's a great time if you want a game that just exemplifies the fun factor of gaming. Vanquish is absolutely that. $9.99 I think is a pretty good buy. Bayonetta, on the other hand, you guys know the deal. Bayonetta has been around for a while and has a lot more IP notoriety than Vanquish, but yeah, very good action game in its own right and very stylish as well here. So each for $9.99, good pickup on both. Lastly, I do want to give a shout to Dragon Ball FighTERZ, which is 85% off for $9. A very good fighting game. It falls victim to the issue that a lot of other fighting games do. When even if you do buy them on sale, you do have a lot of additional content that's been released for this game. So many additional characters and whatnot that if you do want everything, you're gonna have to pay a little bit more, a lot bit more, to be perfectly honest. But I thought DB FighTERZ, from a fundamental standpoint, was still a very good game. Even if you're not the biggest Dragon Ball fan in the world, it's still a very well done technical fighter with a lot of nuances attached to it. This isn't like your typical Dragon Ball fighting game where it's a bit more on the arcadey style. You know, like your Tenkaichis and your Budokais of the world. No, FighTERZ is very reminiscent of a game that Arc System Works would do, and that's what you got here. But very, very slick presentation, great visuals here. And if you are a Dragon Ball fan, you're just going to enjoy it that much more, but it's a well-done fighting game. You know how I often say Dragon Ball Kakarot, if you fundamentally assess it, is it the greatest open-world RPG in the world? No, but if you fundamentally assess Dragon Ball FighTERZ, it's a very well-made fighting game. That's what I'm trying to get at. $9 for this, I think, is a worthwhile pickup. So that's going to do it for me. You got a lot of deals on this game's under $20 sale. Links to everything I mentioned in this video will be in the description box below. As always, thank you for watching. Sound off in the comments section down below, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.